Welcome to Inside Gaming. I'm Brian. It's weekend roundup time. Guys, we have a sad breakup to report. EA and FIFA, that couple who has been together since Bill Clinton was president. Kurt Cobain was alive. I was in high school. I know, yeah. Well, they're no more. They broke up. It's official. The two sides who have been together for almost 30 years since 1993. No more, done. They got different apartments. They're seeing different people. FIFA's been working out. EA got an earring. So yeah, it's a whole new ball game. Starting next year, they're going their separate ways. EA announced that its flagship series will be named EA Sports FC. No more FIFA. And in a release, EA bent over backwards, rhetorically speaking, to reassure fans that nothing will change. EA Sports executive Cam Weber wrote, "Everything you love about our games will be part of EA Sports FC. The same great experiences, modes, leagues, tournaments, clubs, and athletes. And I assume a ton of microtransactions." Oh yes, the rest of the quote. Ultimate Team, Career Mode, Pro Clubs, and Volta Football will all be there. So yes, if you thought EA was going to clean up their microtransactions, you don't know EA at all. Weber added that their licensing portfolio of more than 19,000 plus players, 700 plus teams, 100 plus stadiums, and 30 leagues will still be in EA Sports FC. That includes, of course, Premier League, La Liga, Bundesliga, Serie A, the MLS, and others. Sorry for pronouncing all of those leagues terribly. EA said EA Sports FC will be a new independent platform that brings opportunity to innovate and evolve. That means NFTs, I just assume. EA CEO Andrew Wilson said, "We're thankful for our many years of great partnership with FIFA." Yes, you gotta say something nice on the way out the door. So why did this happen? Well, this story really blew up last year, although EA and FIFA have been having issues for a while, but last year it really broke open when the New York Times reported that EA and FIFA might be breaking up because their licensing agreement was set to expire this year. So the agreement basically calls for FIFA to license its name to EA and make the soccer game, and it's worth about $150 million a year. That is a lot for a name for 4 letters, and at some point last year, probably before that, EA thought, it's not worth it anymore. The current 10-year agreement was scheduled to end after the World Cup in Qatar this year, and FIFA wanted more money to renew. Reportedly, it wanted double what it was getting, to more than $1 billion for each 4-year World Cup cycle. And EA was basically like, we're not gonna do that. In addition to money, there was a lot of disagreement between the two sides over what exactly exclusive rights meant. FIFA apparently wanted those exclusive name rights to just be used in a soccer game. FIFA, they wanted it to end there. But the Times reported that EA wanted to explore other ventures within its FIFA video game ecosystem, including highlights of actual games, arena video game tournaments, and digital products like NFTs. There it is. And it was reported that EA was making moves for a life without FIFA, and that's where we got EA Sports FC. They reported it back then that they had registered that trademark in the European Union and the other in Britain. Then in February, Wilson, that's the EA CEO, took a shot at FIFA, calling it 4 letters on the front of the box and an impediment to their ambitions for the series. So the handwriting has been on the wall for a long time now. As for the rest of this year, we will get a FIFA 23 game, but that will be the last one, at least with EA. EA said it would share more details on EA Sports FC in the summer of next year, 2023. In a release, Wilson said, "We have an incredible opportunity to put EA Sports FC at the heart of the sport and to bring even more innovative and authentic experiences to the growing football audience." So that leaves us with FIFA. What are they gonna do? Because of next year, they got a name, but no game. I'm very proud of that. Video Games Chronicle reports that according to FIFA, discussions are ongoing with, quote, leading game publishers, media companies, and investors about developing a new FIFA game for 2024, which would directly compete with EA Sports FC. A lot of people think Konami might get it. Who knows? FIFA president Gianni Infantino also took some backhanded slaps, maybe not even backhanded, maybe some forehanded slaps at EA in a statement saying that only games with FIFA on them would be credible to fans of football. Quote, I can assure you that the only authentic, real game that has the FIFA name will be the best one available for gamers and football fans. He went on to say, the FIFA name is the only global original title. FIFA 23, FIFA 24, FIFA 25, and FIFA 26, and so on. The consistent is the FIFA name, and it will remain forever and remain the best in all caps. So there you go. Meanwhile, we saw some big name football clubs from around the world tweet their support of the new EAFC game, including Liverpool FC and Paris Saint-Germain, both of whom tweeted versions of "We're in the club." So EA, they're getting their ducks in a row for the new game. All right, on to the rest of the story. So if you're Nintendo, you got a problem right now. The Switch is selling great. All-time great, but it's also getting old. Even when it came out 5 years ago, the hardware was dated, but in 2020, the year of our Lord, it is really dated. And Nintendo executives are admitting publicly for the first time they are struggling with how to follow up on their biggest selling console of all time. Well, not handheld, but old school, traditional console. In an investor Q&A this week, Nintendo President Shuntaro Furukawa said the eventual transition to their next console is a major concern, saying the question of whether we will be able to smoothly transition from the Nintendo Switch to the next generation of hardware is a major concern for us. Based on our experiences with the Wii, Nintendo DS, and other hardware, it is very clear that one of the major obstacles is how to easily transition from one hardware to the next. And the subtext here is that they really don't want another Wii U, which was an unmitigated disaster after the success of the Wii. Furukawa added that to help alleviate this risk, we're focusing on building long-term relationships with our customers. While we will continue launching new software on the Nintendo Switch, we will also provide services that also use Nintendo accounts and other IP outside of gaming software. Honestly, I feel like the move here, release an upgraded Switch, call it the Super Switch, the Switch 2, give a number. The PlayStation proved that will work. Just market it as the new console. People like the Switch. Don't fix what isn't broken. That's my opinion. They did not ask for my opinion, but that's it. Obviously, Nintendo has not announced any plans for a next-gen console. They haven't even talked about an upgraded Pro version of the current Switch, despite years of rumors around it. But given the age of the Switch, it's clear that they're at least talking about it internally. A top Sony executive had some strong words about the Game Pass model that Microsoft has adopted. While Sony recently unveiled its PS Plus subscription service offering big catalogs of old games that's coming out, I believe, this summer, it is not adding first-party games day and date to the service like Game Pass does. And there is a reason for that. According to Sony Chief Financial Officer Hiroki Totoki, that's because the quality of the games would suffer, according to him. As part of an investor Q&A this week, Totoki said if they were to follow Microsoft in doing that, it could result in fewer resources allocated to first-party games and thus a decline in quality. In a transcription by Video Games Chronicle, Totoki said, AAA titles on PlayStation 5, if we distribute them on the subscription service, we may need to shrink the investment needed for that. That will deteriorate the first-party title quality, and that is our concern. He added, so we want to make sure we spend the appropriate development costs to have solid products and titles to be introduced in the right manner. PlayStation boss Jim Ryan has expressed similar sentiments about adding first-party games day and date to the service, saying it's not a road that we're going to go down with this new service. An antitrust lawsuit that claims Valve uses Steam's dominance to drive up game prices can move forward. This comes from a U.S. district judge in the state of Washington, who previously had dismissed the suit against Valve. It was filed by indie developer Wolfire Games, but now that same judge is letting an amended version of Wolfire's suit to proceed. This was found by Bloomberg Law, who reported that earlier this month, John Kokenhauer ruled that Valve is in a highly favorable market position and that this could potentially enable the company to use market dominance to exploit or intimidate its developers and customers. He wrote in his ruling that the company allegedly enforces this regime through a combination of written and unwritten rules, imposing its own conditions on how even non-Steam enabled products are sold and priced. These allegations are sufficient to plausibly allege unlawful conduct. So he didn't make a ruling on the merits of it. He just basically said the allegations are enough to where we will let this lawsuit go forward. Now, the case was first filed by Wolfire in the spring of 2021 and highlights several issues they had with Steam, including 30% commission taken by Valve Valve on sales, the ability to withhold keys and revoke publisher privileges, and Valve's use of controversial most favored nation policies. That's a technique used by a lot of online outlets, particularly in the United States. As to that last point, most favored nation policies, the ruling notes that a Steam account manager who informed Plaintiff Wolfire that it would delist any games available for sale at a lower price elsewhere, whether or not using Steam keys. So there you go. As Bloomberg noted, the same judge twice issued preliminary rulings in Valve's favor, but Kogenhauer tentatively dismissed the lawsuit in November, but obviously he now finds some merit in the amended suit, so that will go forward. Activision Blizzard, despite its many issues, apparently is super focused on what it considers to be the real problem: employees unionizing. You might have heard that there is a current unionization drive going on at Raven Software. That's one of the subsidiaries that works on Call of Duty games. The election deadline for a unionization drive is on May 20th. According to the Washington Post, Raven management has been sending messages and holding town hall meetings strongly discouraging employees from voting yes to unionize. In one meeting last month, company leadership suggested that unionization might not only impede game development, but also affect employees' promotions and benefits. After that meeting, management reportedly sent employees an email saying, please vote no. This all started last year when Raven laid off a bunch of their QA testers. Workers across Activision Blizzard held a strike and supported them. Activision Vice President of QA Chris Aarons reportedly told team members in a Slack that a union doesn't do anything to help us produce world-class games, and the bargaining process is not typically quick, often reduces flexibility, and can be adversarial and lead to negative publicity. So yeah, trying to do a little union busting here, it sounds like. Like I said, the union election deadline is May 20th, and the votes will be counted by the Federal National Labor Relations Board a few days later. All right, time for a 5-second review. You know that salt used to be so rare that countries literally fought wars over it. That is crazy, right? That is crazy. You can get it at the grocery store now for nothing. All right, let's talk about the games coming out next week. First up, Deadcraft. Farm the dead to stay alive in Deadcraft, a new twist on the zombie survival action genre. As a half-zombie, grow an army of loyal undead followers and build an arsenal to equip them to take revenge on the rulers of humanity's last city. Comes to PC, PS5, Xbox Series X, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch May 19th. Deliver Us the Moon is a sci-fi thriller set in an apocalyptic near future where Earth's natural resources are depleted. A lone astronaut is sent to the moon on a critical mission to save humanity from extinction. Comes to PS5 and Xbox Series X May 19th. Endzone, A World Apart Survivor Edition. In 2021, a group of terrorists blew up nuclear power plants around the world and plunged the world into chaos. Only a few were able to escape into underground facilities called end zones. 150 years later, mankind returns to the surface under your command. In an extremely hostile environment full of radioactivity, contaminated rain, extreme climate change, and people dreaming of a better life, you'll have to prove your worth as a leader. It comes to PS5 and Xbox Series X May 19th. Vampire the Masquerade Swan Song. Based on the cult role-playing game and developed by specialists in the genre, Vampire the Masquerade Swan Song is a narrative RPG in which your every choice determines the fate of 3 main characters and of the boss in Camarilla. What if vampires were real? What if these bloodthirsty predators lived among us, meticulously and skillfully hatching ancient conspiracies? And what if you became one of them? Uh-oh. It comes to PC, PS5, Xbox Series X, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch May 19th. And finally, Cotton Fantasy. Something sinister is in the making. The willows are vanishing from fairyland, and the fairy queen asks Silk to seek the witch Nada de Cotton for help. For a lifetime, all-you-can-eat willow supply, as she has an insatiable craving for them, Cotton is willing to help out her old friend and embark on another adventure together. This brand new game from the long-standing Cotton series sets the stage for another fantastic adventure featuring a total of 6 iconic playable characters, including stars from other games. Each character has their own mechanics and attacks, allowing you to choose from different playstyles and find the right match. It comes to PS4 and Switch May 20th. That's all the news I got for you this week, guys. I hope you're having a great weekend. We'll see you soon. Watch Ship Hits the Fan or listen to it. It's a podcast.